important that we need not to dispel mystery, but to go deeper into it. Probably time I stop speaking, so I'm just going to do it with a quote from Einstein, which is this: "The universe is not only stranger than we imagine, it is stranger than we can imagine." Thank you.
Well, who knew? I, for one, feel I know more than I ever expected to know.
I never wanted to know.
I didn't want to say that. About mosquitoes both subterranean and above ground. But I'm sure there will be questions. And yes, we have one already. Please wait for the microphone to come before you ask your question.
What is the lifespan of the mosquito? Because evolution speeds up its partly, because I presume they don't live very long, and so you can get a lot of generations in a short time.
Yes, it's a very relevant one. Most mosquitoes live within the span of a single year. But there are some species of mosquito, like the one that I mentioned, Theobordia annulata, which hibernates. So some live over a 2-year period, and some of them come into the house to hibernate. So it's either 1 year or 2 years, depending on the species.
Is it the same for males and females?
The males, as ever, are shorter lived.
Why do some people get bitten more than others?
There's been a lot of research into that, and I do not know that there is a definitive answer. But some people put it down to blood type. So mosquitoes do have a favoured blood type, and with all those chemical detectors, they are able to detect your blood type, amazingly. There are other things which do attract mosquitoes. I'm afraid that excessive perspiration is a great attractant to mosquitoes, but so are antiperspirants, incidentally. Mosquitoes love antiperspirants and perspiration, so you're damned if you don't and damned if you don't. It also says that some colours, I think the colour yellow is more attractive to mosquitoes as it is to many insects. But no one knows a definitive answer, but blood group may be part of it.
Which blood?
Now listen, you're asking me very detailed questions. I'm going to say I think it's O. If you read the book, should you not have the book already and want to purchase it, the answer will be in there. But I think it's O.
Do you know if there are mosquitoes on the subway and the metro?
I've been asked that question before, and no, is the short answer. But for the first time in my life, I'm going to New York this autumn, so I will definitely raise that question while I'm there, and next time, if I'm invited back, I will come equipped with the answer.
Thank you very much, fascinating. What aspect of the mosquito's life contributed to the name of one of the World War II's most successful aircraft, the Mosquito, which was used for as a pathfinder before the bombers went out?
I don't know. Why was the Mosquito? I am aware that the Mosquito aircraft was named after the Mosquito. Don't you think after what you've heard, after general admiration for the engineering of the Mosquito, and perhaps that amazing flight ability that it's got. I mean, mosquitoes will actually fly surprising distances. They will fly a mile or more to find a good food source. So they are good flyers, despite looking very frail insects. But why the makers of that successful aircraft named it the Mosquito is beyond my capacity. I'm glad you're all interested in mosquitoes and will treat them with respect.
I've got two questions actually. One is, it seems to me we're not that aware of mosquitoes on the tube, and people don't get bitten that much, and why is that? And the other one is, do you think climate change means that malaria is going to come back to this country?
Okay, two interesting questions. So first of all, despite being now hyper aware of mosquitoes, I have still never seen one in the tube. And I think now it is mostly maintenance workers who walk the tunnels at night who get bitten by mosquitoes. But I am interested in whether COVID has had an impact on the mosquito population in the tubes. I don't even think the mosquitoes called COVID. Sorry, I'm making a noise again. But during the period of COVID, there was use of the undergrounds diminished significantly for a long period of time. So whether with less food supply available, the mosquito populations have dropped, and I don't know whether they have recovered since COVID. And I base that on my observation of mice in the underground, something I didn't have time to talk about, which fascinates me too, because I have seen mice on the underground since COVID, but I have not seen nearly as many of them as I used to. And mice feed upon the edible litter that we drop all over the place. And I wonder whether COVID has also reduced the population of mice in the underground, and possibly mosquitoes too. And the other question was the question of whether with climate change malaria will return to this country is one which is subject of much debate, and the government has had for years a special committee looking into invasive diseases and how climate change will affect them. And there are two possibilities. One is that, as I mentioned, there are different types of plasmodium. Malaria is not one thing, there are several different malarial plasmodium. Actually, the mosquito itself is quite an innocent carrier of the real cause of malaria, which is a plasmodium. And so the danger is whether the more deadly plasmodium will be able to live in it requires warmer conditions, and whether climate change will mean it can survive in this country. That threat is not considered very high. The more serious threat is that new species of mosquito will be able to survive in this country with warmer conditions. And there is evidence that other mosquito species are spreading, and more disturbing species of mosquito are spreading towards us with climate change. Jury's still out, but that is the evidence at the moment. I think if we move about.
Yeah, probably.
Thank you very much for a fascinating talk. I was going to ask, everybody, when they are lying in bed, are waiting for that signal, that whine of the approaching mosquito as you leap around. Are there any occasions when the mosquito is not in its mating series and can attack in silence?
No. I mean, that does raise another question which occurred to me, which I was never able to successfully resolve to myself. It has so many ways of approaching you stealthily, and yet it has this noise that it can't turn off, which you would think would alert, well, does alert you to its presence, and you would think that was kind of anti-evolutionary in a way. But the reason it can't turn off is because, as I mentioned, it's the wings rub against a cone-like structure on the back, so it can't stop that interaction between the wings and the structure on the back. So it always makes that whine, whether it's in mating mode or not. It can't help but whine, to be honest. But it does seem an odd thing that it's always doing it.
Are there further questions?
One over there.
One over there.
I've got quite a loud voice. I was just wondering, following on, what advice would you give to happy coexistence with mosquitoes in the home, especially in your bathroom?
I don't know whether they'll be entirely happy. I will say the best deterrent is the one recommended by the Army incidentally, and it's oh so soft. It's that Avon's oh so soft is actually the most effective protection against. I love the idea of all these soldiers going around applying oh so soft to themselves, but that's the best one. In terms of control of mosquitoes, there is a big discussion. It was at one time felt that we should eradicate mosquitoes completely. And I think that form of eradication is a really dangerous thing because we never know the ecological consequences of removing one species from our complex and fragile ecological chain. And so what I am really excited about was the development of vaccines against malaria. And you know, there are new vaccines, and there's one recently been found to be very effective for children in tropical areas. So I'm pinning our coexistence not on the eradication of mosquitoes themselves, who are actually the innocent victims of this. They are driven by the plasmodium. And the plasmodium actually is really, sorry, I want to stop down. But you know, when you get malaria, you get bouts of heat, of sweating, and then bouts of cold. And it's said that the plasmodium actually generates those bouts of sweating to give out signals to more mosquitoes to keep them feeding. So the plasmodium in some way drives the mosquitoes. Sorry, I'm making a case for forgiving mosquito. I'll never do that at all. But I put my hopes on, not on eradication, but on vaccination for malaria. If it's nearly time, can I just say, so these are free walks which I am leading. They're funded by Transport for London. They're administered by that great Indian organisation, the Garden Classroom. We walk for an hour and a half to get you fit, and then we give you tea and cake at the end to make you unfit again. And I talk about a combination of history, but also about urban and natural history, about the stories of our street weeds and street trees. And these are not Mondays, but Tuesdays for the next 4 weeks, beginning at 10:30 at different destinations. Next Tuesdays begins at Highbury Station, but I have some leaflets here. Please come and take one if you're interested. And I also have copies of both of my last two books, if you want. If you didn't buy them at the last meeting, sorry, I'm taking too long. Please come and get one from me at the end.